live. Hello, guys. Good evening. What's up? Good evening. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's the one and only African superstar back at it again. Guys, we're back in the African Superstar Studios in Accra, Ghana. Yes, hallelujah. We've been on travels. It's so nice to be back home, I must admit. Big shout outs to you guys. Yes, yes. Where are you? Where are you? Yes. Tonight I have an unpopular opinions for the family. I want to discuss this. Yes, yes, yes. Please make sure you get into the chat room. Get into the chat room, guys. I'll be waiting for you there. Yes. One and only. Where you at today? This, of course, is a motivated by current events. Yes. So we're going to talk about it today. Big shout outs to you guys there. What's up? What's up? Hi, guys. Hello. Do you guys know where I am? Of course, you should know by now. Yes, yes, yes. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. We're just waiting for somebody, anybody, to get into the chat room. Hello. Are you guys happy to see me? Can you see the vibes have returned? The vibes have returned. It's just something about the environment here. It's just something about the environment here that gives me so much energy. Yes, guys, I'm back in African Superstar Studios in Accra, Ghana. You see my award. You see my star. You know I'm here. Yes. Please get into the chat room, guys, if you're here. Please get into the chat room. Tonight is Unpopular Opinions. Poor decision making leads to tragic outcomes. Yes, we're going to talk about it. Hello, I'm waiting for the family to get into the chat room. Somebody, anybody, say hello. Let us know where you're viewing from. This is a requirement of live streams. Hello. Big shout out to Mr. Antonio Mize. I see you there, brother. Thank you so much for kicking off the chat room. Yes, guys, please make sure you're a part of the conversation. You can like the stream. You can be a part. You can sow a seed into our platform. Make sure you subscribe. Special shout outs to our members only. Guys, I have been traveling extensively throughout the week. I want to let members only know I will be posting a vlog for you tomorrow. So please bear with me as I have been on travels. Guys, I just went to Rome. Yes. Shout outs to you guys. Yes. I had a lovely time in Rome. I stopped over in Rome as I made my way back to Ghana, and it was absolutely amazing. I think I'm going to go spend a little bit more time in Italy. It's been years since I went to Italy originally. 25 years. I went in the year 2000. Time is flying. And I had a lovely stay, brief stay in Rome, but yes, 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 yes. So if you guys want to see a bit of those, I did post up a couple pictures on my social media, not a lot of pictures. But today, what's up, Frank? I see you there, guys. Make sure you hit the likes. If you're here, you know what time it is. Today, I want to talk about current event. Those of you guys, do we have any football fans in the room? Not American football, but football. Hello. AKA soccer. Superstar Bella. Thank you, sweetheart. I see you there. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. You guys are in the chat. You guys are on it. Yes. For anybody who follows football, then you guys heard the very tragic news. A Liverpool football star died in a car crash in Spain yesterday. Not only him, also accompanied by his brother. And he just got married last week, I believe. He had a wedding ceremony last week. The young man was 28 years old. And, you know, he leaves behind a wife, 3 kids. And the whole thing is tragic. And, you know, I've been seeing a lot of the RIP and all this stuff online. And it's so tragic and gone too soon. And why? And I want to come with an unpopular opinion. Okay, I want to come with an unpopular opinion, which is poor decision making leads to tragic outcomes. Okay, when I saw that this young man had died in a car crash, I'm sorry to say, The first thing I thought to myself was either it was alcohol related, intoxication related, or it was speed. Okay, now he is a Liverpool footballer, which means he lives in England. Okay, and going to Spain, it's a foreign country. Spain and Portugal are really hilly, from what I understand. Type of terrains with a lot of hills and all that stuff. And I can imagine the difficulty of driving an unfamiliar road, especially if you're speeding, especially if you have been perhaps drinking. And originally, that was my first thought, was that I wonder if, what type of crash this was. Was it due to high speed or, drink driving, basically? And one of my good friends is really, I think he's a Liverpool fan, so he was really, people get so attached to these celebrities, I mean, at the end of the day, they're really strangers. We don't know them, but this football fan is just like, oh my gosh, it's just so tragic and it's so terrible. And I want to talk about poor decision making. You see, when we look at our lives is really the culmination of the decisions that we make, huh? If we're honest. What's up, Black Beauty? I see you there in the room. If we're honest, we know our lives are the culmination of the decisions that we make. Now, I do recognize that random things happen, time and chance happen, things like that. Sometimes you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Sometimes you're an innocent bystander and things like that. But you can't get away from the importance of good decision making versus poor decision making. Now, guys, hello. I'm going to need some crowd support from those of you in the chat room, okay? If you are, for instance, I don't know how much this player makes. I don't know if he's one of the top paid on his team, but let's just say, he makes £1 million a year at least. Okay. If any of you guys are football fans and you guys know how much this individual makes on his contract, you can put it in there. But let's just say he makes at least £1 million a year in his football contract. The gentleman's name was Diogo Jota. Okay. He's a Liverpool football star. So he was out celebrating, and yeah, he was probably drunk, He was probably drunk. And probably driving a really fast car, Now, let's say you're a £1 million player. Hello. Okay. What are some things that you need to be careful of because you are a £1 million player? Come on, guys, chat room, please. Let's get into the first trivia question. If you were a £1 million player, what are some precautions that you would take? What are some precautions that you would take? Maybe something that you would do differently than how you live now with your current, salary, with your current profession and all that stuff. If you were a £1 million player, what would you do? Where's the fellas at in the room? I hope some of you fellas know what you would do. Some of the things that you would need to take precautions in. The reality is that this gentleman, as I read a little bit more into it today, my suspicions were correct. It said that as he tried to overtake a vehicle, he lost control of the car, and that was what led to the car accident. So either he was trying to overtake it, he wasn't clear to take it, or he was speeding too fast, or whatever may have happened. He lost control of the car. So basically, he is responsible for his own car accident. It wasn't like a head-on collision or someone ran a red light or, anything like that. It was purely due to the actions that he took. Does anybody have any suggestions? Guys, if you are a £1 million player, what are some precautions that you would take? First of all, you need to be humble. Hello? You need to be humble. Black Beauty always, thank you so much. Black Beauty always says, be careful of who I have in my circle. When you are, for instance, let's say a celebrity, okay, things can get blown out of hand very quickly. And, because you are a celebrity, you also lose some of your privacy. When you go out, people see you. So if you're acting a certain way, you're being reckless, you're doing certain things, it could be in the tabloids the next day. In some cases, your behavior could even cost you your contract. If you're the kind of person that gets involved in criminal activity, or, maybe drug abuse, or some type of allegations, sexual allegations. These things could potentially cost you your career. It could cost you your £1,000,000 contract. Hello? In the case of this specific gentleman, okay, he had so much to lose. He had so much to lose. Okay, he was a football star, probably high paid, a new husband, a father of 3. He was driving his brother in the vehicle as well. If he would have just taken a minute to think about the situation and make a different decision, it's safe to say it would not have cost his life. His life was cost because of poor decision making. And a lot of times, guys, we are making poor decisions and we are reaping those benefits. That's just the truth. Some of you guys, you have kids with people that you can't stand, you don't like. If you're honest and you go back to the beginning of that relationship or things like that, maybe you knew that it was a bad thing to do, or it was a risky thing to do. Maybe you guys already had a rocky relationship or a non-existent relationship, or maybe this individual had children with previous people and you saw the way that he or she parented with his people, his other children. We've all seen or heard that story of the individual who, went back and ended up getting into a situation. Sometimes domestic violence victims, they've made it out of the relationship. They are free and clear, and they go back. Oh, he called. He just wanted to have a discussion. Oh, we were going to discuss the custody. Oh, he just needed closure. It's bad. People that have become sober, they go out and hang out. Next thing you know, they've relapsed. They're back at it again, back drinking, back doing drugs. I wish, in my optimistic view, that we would put a lot more focus on our contribution, our decision making, because it really, really, really shapes our life. I know for a fact that decisions that I have made have probably made my life a lot better than had I made poor decisions in certain situations. Okay. You guys know rocky areas of town. Wherever you live, there's always a hood. There's always a sketchy neighborhood. There's always a ghetto. There's always a crime-ridden area and all that stuff. It's safe to say that if you spend maybe a lot of time in those environments, your probability of maybe getting caught up in something is higher. Okay. It's also statistically proven that a lot of incidents happen at night. Okay. That's when the drunk drivers are out a lot of times. Okay. They've gone out after work. They've gone out on the weekends. Late at night, they're out. They've been drinking and they get behind the wheel. That's when a lot of the accidents happen. They happen in the night and they happen on the weekends, because that is obviously a very, busy time. Okay. If, for instance, you are always home in your bed on a Friday or Saturday night, you have limited your probability of being involved in those situations. Because when there's a high probability of those situations taking place, you're nowhere to be found. And I tell you guys, the gun violence in America, I'm a lot safer because I don't live in America anymore. When I'm here in Ghana, for instance, there's like virtually no gun crime here. considering a lot of these things will make your life safer, will make your life better. Okay? Is it tragic that a 28-year-old father and newlywed and football star, is it tragic that he died at 28? Yeah. But whose fault is that? This is an unpopular opinion. It's his own fault. Okay? We know people, or maybe even sometimes it's us. We know that we've made good decisions that have led us to certain outcomes. We know we've made bad decisions that have led us to certain outcomes. Okay, definitely speeding in probably a fast car in a foreign country late at night, potentially intoxicated. Guys, is that a good or bad decision? Is that a good or bad decision? If you want to take it up a notch, you're a father, okay? You are a newlywed and you are a high-paid football star. You have a lot to lose. And you don't think about potentially outcomes. That's poor decision making. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the more valuable you are, okay, the more value that you have created in your life, the more wise you should be in your decision making. Because the ripples from your decision making can impact so many people. Okay. For instance, when you are a parent, when you even birth, okay, the way that you interact, it should encompass your child. You should start thinking about, you know, how you need to be available for your child. Okay, maybe you want to do something or go certain places, but you might think, if this situation were to go negative, what would be the impact on my kids? Now that man has left behind 3 children with no father, and all of his children are very young, so that I could see from the picture. All because God decided to drive reckless, all because if for instance you're going out to party, hello, Uber. Now, obviously, he's a high profile person, so maybe he doesn't want to take Uber. He could easily get a driver, he could get a private car. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure his team could provide him transportation just for 5 minutes. Now, the tragedy is insurmountable because of poor decision making. His mother has to bury 2 of her children on one. She lost 2 of her kids on one day. I don't know if those are her only children. If maybe there are other children, that would make it even worse. You see, poor decision making, guys, and that's why this is an unpopular opinion. Because, again, when these things happen, we're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Those people will bring God into it. But why does God do things like this? No. We have to be accountable for the decisions that we take. A lot of us are doing ridiculous things, and when the outcomes come, we got to man up or woman up and accept it. Some poor decisions, they can cost you your life. Some poor decisions can cost you your life. I watch a lot of crime shows. I mentioned it here on the channel. I watch a lot of crime shows. And, sometimes when you watch these crime shows, you can see exactly where the person went wrong. You can see exactly what they did that may have contributed to their outcome. Okay, last summer, for instance, when I was in the U.S., there was a young girl, a 19-year-old Black girl, who went out on a date, an online date with this 33-year-old white man, and he butchered her and scattered her remains all across their town. I think it happened in like Minnesota, Wisconsin, or something like that. Guys, are you in the chat room? Hello. Shout out to the African Superstar family. Guys, make sure you like the stream if you're enjoying this commentary. Okay. When I looked at the picture of the guy looked questionable. Okay. He wasn't clean cut. He wasn't, well groomed. He didn't look like all his ducks were in a row. I mean, not that you can always deduce somebody's mental state by their appearance, but their appearance says a lot of things about them. And sometimes overlooking these things, just trying to be positive and just trying to be fair, it costs you. I can't tell you how many stories I've seen people meeting people online for the first time in their freaking house. You don't know what this person is like online. And you're bringing them into your house for the first meetup. It's risky. It's dangerous. Poor decision making can lead to tragic outcomes. Take more control of your life by focusing on making the decisions that need to be made and doing them well. Learn from, hello, turn up the volume, learn from the failures of others. This is a pro tip that your African superstar has. I mean, I have utilized this since I was a teenager. I have watched my friends do certain things and watched the outcomes they got and said, oh, hell to the no, it's not going to be me. Some people are very narcissistic and think, yeah, I know 10 other people that have gone down this road. You know, for instance, here living in Africa, there's a lot of the romance scamming and all this kind of stuff. One of the popular romance scams is these ladies dating really young guys. You know, listen, I date younger guys. It's always been that way. You know, even my ex-husband was a little bit younger than me. I attract younger men because of my youthful looks and my gray body. I mean, I'm just being honest. You know, I attract younger men, and I'm also attracted to younger men. But you have to look at the reality. Okay, if you again, if you are, 55 and you're not in top condition, you don't look like Jennifer Lopez. You're a more, average middle class 55, maybe extra pounds or a lot of extra pounds or whatever. Hello, Mr. Hot, 25-year-old with the six pack. There's a motive to why he's with you. Okay, because you could potentially be his age of his own mother, or in some cases, grandmother. I'm seeing these women that are dating guys 20, 30 years younger than them. Okay, poor decision making. Okay, you see so many outcomes along the way. You should be cautious, not to say that obviously age gap relationships can't work out. In some cases, they do. Not to say that intercultural marriages can't work out or relationships can't work out. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. But there is a very high probability of those things being motivated, people wanting to travel, people being gold diggers, people being disingenuous. And so once you see the warning signs and you just evade them all, the consequences can be huge. And that's why I'm always, trying to promote you guys to A, be proactive, think about the future, plan accordingly, you know, but also make wise decisions. When it comes to the content, I've advised you against, buying land online from some of these personalities because why? Because they have a history of scamming. Recently somebody brought it to my attention that Art Caffey, she's a um, YouTuber that was formerly in the Gambia and she's currently in Ghana. Somebody brought it to my attention that she came out with a GoFundMe for $80,000 because she claims that she has cancer and that she needs to raise this money to go home. Now, Art Caffey has been implicated in land scams in the Gambia in the past. The minute she came to Ghana, she started dealing in properties and land again. Why people would maybe potentially invest with her is beyond me because of her track record, because of her history. You see, poor decision leads to tragic outcomes. I know there are some people that would really enjoy to hear a sob story about me. I know. I know it. Okay, it's part of being, in the book. Some people wish you well, I Amina. Others want you downfall. It is what it is. But guess what? Guess what? Your African superstar puts a lot of energy into what? Decision making. This is a pro tip. Y'all wonder why I came here? I don't have scam stories. I don't have scam stories because of my decision making. A lot of times the age old adage, if it seems too good to be true, it is. Evaluating the vehicle that these things are coming out. Does that person seem trustworthy? Does that person seem legit? You know, a few minutes, guys, a few minutes of just evaluation makes a difference. But people aren't doing checks and balances, and then it leads to these tragic outcomes. And it's very unfortunate, obviously, if any other family of this football star finds this video, it's no offense, but it's just the truth. That young man has so much to lose, and the decision that he made was poor, and it cost him tremendously. It cost him his life. The decision that he made to drive the way he was driving, and all this kind of thing, trying to overtake cars, foreign countries, and all this stuff. It was reckless, and it impacted. See, that's the other thing I want to say about poor decision making. It impacts so many people sometimes. It doesn't just impact you, the individual, a lot of times. Poor decision making ripples through. Now this young man is he's dead. Okay, his brother is dead. He's orphaned 3 kids, widowed a wife. Okay, left his team members, and all of his fans. So, that poor decision that he made is so huge. And sometimes decisions you guys make is so huge. Okay. For instance, if you plan and you do what you need to do and you try to be strategic about coming here on the continent, it can be a very positive experience for you. Take it from me. Okay. Or you can follow in the footsteps of so many people that have not been successful because of various reasons. Okay, we know some of the various reasons why people do not succeed in their transitions here. Okay, I can probably name 5 off the top of my head. Big shout out to the family, guys. Are you in the building? Let me see you in the chat. Hello, we got a few of you guys in there. Where's the rest? Hit the likes, be a part of the conversation, guys. I know I'm beautiful, but let's get interactive. Okay, let's get interactive. Shout outs also to my members only. Those of you guys with circles next to your name. Those are our members only, and they support the platform on a monthly basis. Shout outs to them when they come in or see the program. Okay. So 5 reasons, for instance, that people fail here on the continent. Number one, they don't have their source of income worked out. Okay, they don't have their source of income worked out. They come here maybe with a lump sum, or in some cases, not even a lump sum. Some of them think they're going to get jobs here, which, again, a little bit of research will tell you kind of about the economic situation in various countries. It's not probably ideal if you're looking for jobs. That's just the reality, you know. Nor is that what they really are inviting us to do. They're hoping that we invest in some type of way, promote the continent in some type of way, help these countries develop in various forms and all of that. Okay. Source of income, number one. Number two, they come for romance. Okay, a lot of the ladies have met some guy in Facebook chat, Facebook Messenger, Tinder, Bumble, whatever, Match.com, and they have picked up their life without, on some type of fairy tale Hollywood stuff, and comes over here. Doesn't know anything about the country they're going to, nothing. Okay. Number three, they don't, ignorance about the continent. They have romanticized the continent. They think, okay, when I come back to Africa, it's going to be like coming back home, and everybody's going to celebrate me, all this kind of stuff, you know, cultural differences. Okay, I hate to say it, but a lot of members of the diaspora, they don't even like continental Africans. And it's kind of crazy to come and live in a country where you don't want to fraternize with the locals, where you think you're too good for the locals, where you don't feel like you need to learn language, or you don't need to familiarize yourself. All of these things have been failure. The last one I want to mention is poor investments. Okay, some people have invested in business ventures with people, that scam them, that have taken their money. Even Amina was a victim of a land scam. People have invested in land situations that have gone awry. And, so we've got the gambit of things that have made people unsuccessful here. If you're smart, observing that and not trying to model yourself after that or find yourself in those same situations, that's smart decision making. Poor decision making was like, I know that, I just met this hot guy. He's 30 years younger than me. I'm going to get my groove back with him. Even though I know it's risky, even though I know a lot of these situations don't work out, when he takes all your money, or in some more severe cases, some of these guys have even plotted the deaths of some diasporan people, you know. Yeah, I wanted to talk about poor decision making and, encourage obviously my audience, take more control of your alternatives, take more control of your outcomes. Obviously you can't control everything, but some strategic decisions you make, they can save your life, they can increase your life, they can make the quality of your life better. Looking at current events, looking at the situation at large of the world that we're living in. I spoke to a friend of mine that lives in Romania the other day, and he was talking about all these things going on with Russia, Ukraine, and how obviously he's in close proximity as he lives in Romania, and that's in that area, I suppose. And he was telling me, like, I'm trying to gather myself to come back home because guess what? I be telling you, no world wars here in Africa. The truth is, living in Western nations, we're subject to whatever they do, whenever they do whatever they want to do. They get into conflict, it begins to impact our quality of life. Okay, let's say, for instance, you're an American and Americans start getting targeted abroad because of their passport, or because of this, or because of what the current administration is doing. Okay, that's not a slight on you individually. That has to do with your association to a particular place. We have to be mindful of these things. You know, that is seeing the future and, seeing current events and calculating future and being proactive. Right now, when stuff pops off, that's not the time for you to try to be scrambling people. That's not the time. The time is you strategize ahead of time. Then maybe if you find yourself in a crisis, you have a mode of action. You have a plan B. You know. So big shout out to the African Superstar family. Those of you guys that were with me in the chat and on code, I appreciate it. I think Superstar Bella was the only one to mention our mission statement, which means strategy, maturity, and patience. Big shout out to Superstar Bella. I just try to encourage you guys to be successful in your life by decision making. I did not get to Ghana by making rash decisions, making poor decisions, you know, taking time out, doing research, trying to acclimate, trying to be strategic. That's what led me, planning ahead. Some of you guys think you want to come to Africa and you're not putting things into place, man. And I got news for you. The day of completion for you is going to come and go. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And it's going to be sad. And what's going to be sad is what I ultimately know is going to happen. this economic boom is going to take over the continent, and people that are already positioning themselves now before it booms at its largest amount, they're going to benefit, and then other people are going to be singing the regret song, singing the I wish, and I should have done this, should have done that. Don't be in that group. Be in the hallelujah. I'm about to benefit group. Thank you, Amina. Yeah, I know. My energy is different when I'm here in Ghana. I'm telling you guys the truth. I got home and I just was like, oh, so happy. So yes, guys, I gotta run. But big shout out to the African Superstar family, guys. If you have enjoyed this and you're not a part of our family, make sure you subscribe. If you want exclusive content, join our members only. Also, I am for the meantime offering bespoke tours probably until the end of the year. So if you guys are interested in that, get a hold of me at africansuperstar@gmail.com. We also have our collaborative celebrity tour with Taya and Uber, October 19th through the 22nd. Book your spot today. Yes. Because your girl, I'm on TV. I'm doing acting now. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm gearing up for the big boom. Hello. Yes. And so I need to get stay black and true. If you ain't black,